the ultimate depreciation-proof daily, your Toyota Camry buyer's guide. Over here, if a car can't do farm work and can't tow a caravan, it better be able to run until the end of the world, and the Camry is exactly that car. Whether you're a P-plater looking for a practice car, or you just want a daily driver where you'll never need to know your mechanic's name, you simply can't avoid this classic appliance on wheels. Tradies come and go, but the Camry is forever. Today, let's talk about how to choose this king of Uber that's flooding our streets. There are quite a few generations of Camrys on the road, but the used market is dominated by these three. To stop you from getting dizzy from all the English suffixes on the car sales websites, let's break it down by trim levels. 2006 to 2011 XV40, the 6th gen. The older generation traffic car with prices hitting rock bottom. The petrol trims here are simple and crude. Lock onto the Altis if you want the poverty spec. Moving up is the mid-spec Ateva and Ateva L, with the occasional touring special edition. For a sporty look, find a Sportivo. And for the top spec with leather and a sunroof, keep your eyes peeled for the Grande. This generation also introduced the hybrid for the first time after its 2010 facelift, with the base called Hybrid and the top spec called Hybrid Luxury. 2011 to 2017 XV50, the 7th gen, the absolute golden generation. This was also the last Australian-made generation before the Altona plant shut down. Pay attention to the facelifts. The 2015 and later models underwent a massive update. Petrol trims Altis is still the base, but Toyota released a high-value, blacked-out sporty special edition called the RZ. Based on it, you can spot it instantly by the black alloy wheels, dual exhaust and sport suspension. The Atara S adds alloys and a reverse camera, offering the best bang for your buck. And you might occasionally bump into the Atara R special edition with a body kit. Above that is the sportier Atara SX, and the flagship is the Atara SL. Hybrid trims early models were called Hybrid H and the top spec Hybrid HL. After the major facelift, they became the Altis Hybrid and Atara SL Hybrid. Back in the day, to separate market positioning, Toyota Australia spun off the big V6 versions and called them the Orient. Essentially, it took the pure FWD large V6 sedan route in Australia, instead of branching into a hybrid mainline like the Camry. This car neatly spanned the XV40 and XV50 generations we just mentioned. While it shared the chassis and interior with the Camry, the entire lineup stubbornly stuck with that legendary 3.5L2G RFE V6 engine paired with a 6-speed auto. Its trims were highly detailed. ATEX is your most common base model traffic car. The luxury mid-spec is the Prodigy, and the top-tier luxury version is the Prosara. It also had a dedicated sports line, the Sportivo SX6, and the higher-tier Sportivos R6. It wasn't until this car was discontinued that the V6 versions merged back into the Camry lineup. 2017 to 2024 XV70, the previous generation. From the 1570 onwards, they are all fully imported from Japan. Because the Orient was discontinued, Toyota merged the V6 engine back into the Camry family, but this big 3.5L V6 heart was only available in the early XV70 models. For the later models, Toyota completely pivoted to new energy. The pure petrol version was only kept for the absolute base model, while mid to high specs were completely taken over by the hybrid. The trims also got way easier to understand, unified into the base Ascent, mid-spec Ascent Sport, Sporty SX, and top-spec Luxury SL. Choosing this generation is also very straightforward for a family daily driver. Try to avoid the bare-bones Ascent and start straight from the Ascent Sport. Spending a little extra gets you a better screen and alloy wheels, which is the best value. If you care about looks and handling, go for the SX. If you have the budget and want it fully loaded, just send it on the SL with full leather and a HUD. My top recommendation: listen to me, lock your sights directly on the late model 7th gen XV50 from 2015 to 2017. Go for the 2.5L petrol or the hybrid, starting from the Atara S or Altis hybrid trims. Current market prices are hovering around $12,000 to $16,000 odd. Let's do some quick math. A hybrid of the same year is usually $2,000 to $3,000 more expensive than the pure petrol version. If you're just doing grocery runs and driving less than 15,000 kilometers a year, don't hesitate, buy the 2.5L petrol. The fuel money you save won't cover the car's price difference within a few years, but if you have a long commute, or you're running Uber or food delivery on the side and hitting over 20,000 kilometers a year, the hybrid is absolutely a money-making weapon that gets sweeter the more you drive. When buying a used car over here, people are very tolerant of high mileage. 0 kilometers for a Camry is barely broken in. as long as the previous owner serviced it on time. Even if it has 300,000 kilometers on the clock, it'll still reliably take you from Melbourne to the Gold Coast. Why note the cheapest 4-cylinder 6th Gen XV40? Because it's 2. 4L2AZ engine has a widely recognized risk of burning oil. In an environment like Australia with extremely high labor costs, once you buy a car that's leaking oil or has been neglected for years, the reconditioning costs can easily spiral out of control. You have to understand, the key to passing an RWC isn't the inspector checking if your engine is a 2AZ. It's whether there's oil leaking onto the ground or the exhaust, or if there's obvious blue smoke coming from the tailpipe. If you're unlucky and buy a lemon, spending $1,000 or even several thousands of dollars to fix it up for an RWC is honestly not uncommon here. Besides burning oil, watch out for engine overheating. If the previous owner didn't clean the radiator and let it overheat, that's a fatal blow to this engine. Later models optimize the water jackets, but I highly recommend checking for cylinder scoring before buying. Hybrid health floor it from a standstill for 400 or 500 meters on a straight road, if the battery drops by more than half its charge instantly. The cells need replacing around $3,000. Also, turn on the ignition and listen if the inverter cooling pump is running. If it's not, the inverter will burn out. Steering suspension. If the steering feels binding or has a metallic clunking sound, the steering U-joint is worn. Also, you must check the front strut towers. They are prone to rotting from the inside out. Once they rust, the only fix is cutting and welding, and it will absolutely fail the RWC. So if your budget is really tight and you don't want to gamble on an old car's condition, don't worry, hit that follow button and look forward to our next episode, the ultimate Honda Civic buyer's guide. If you absolutely love the classic look of the 6th Gen XV40, strongly suggest only looking for the late models from 2010 to 2011 around $6,000 to $10,000 AUD by this time. Toyota upgraded the piston rings, massively reducing the chance of burning oil, or just look at its big brother, the Orion, and avoid the 2.4L pitfall altogether. Deep dive the 7th Gen XV50, with a used price range of $12,000 to $16,000 AUD, that too. 5L engine is the absolute benchmark for peace of mind. Just a few things to keep an eye on. Transmission shudder, test drive it between 60 and 80 kilometers per hour. If you feel obvious resonance or shuddering in the body, the torque converter lockup clutch is worn. Factory recalled early pre-June 2015 models for this exact issue to update the software and replace the torque converter. Interior, where the foam on the driver's seat tends to collapse. If you turn the steering wheel while stationary and hear a squeaking noise, the clock spring is worn. Annoying, but not a deal breaker, ex-Uber hybrids look very closely at the rear windshield and C-pillars for any peeled-off Uber sticker residue. Retired rideshare cars have extreme wear on their chassis components. Be prepared to budget for a new battery if it's over 200,000 kilometers. Why not the XV70? The XV70 is a fantastic car, but I strongly recommend against buying it used right now. The reason? The Toyota tax. Any decent spec used XV70 hybrid with normal mileage will easily have dealers asking $25,000 to $30,000 odd. If you have a budget approaching 30 grand, just walk into a showroom and order a brand new one. The used premium on the XV70 defeats the whole purpose of buying a used Camry for high value. The hidden gem Toyota Orion. Don't want to get gapped off the line by a V8 Commodore? Go straight for the Toyota Orion. With a big V6 pushing over 200 kilowatts, it's a proper sleeper, and the used price isn't much different from a regular Camry. Used Orion XV40s generally sit between $6,000 and $15,000, while the XV50 ranges from $11,000 to $19,000. Skip the base ATEX, mostly X-Fleet workhorses, and spend a bit more for the luxury Protege or the sporty Sportivo SX6, ZR6. Orion test drive tips. Cold start sludge. If you hear a loud rattling noise right as it fires up, the VVTi gears are worn. Twist off the oil cap if there's thick jelly-like sludge inside, walk away immediately. Clogged oil passages mean a major rebuild. Transmission flare. Use the gentlest throttle inputs to test that 6-speed auto. If you feel the RPM suddenly spike in free rev for a second when shifting from second to third, a flare. Or if there's a noticeable dragging feeling, haggle hard. This is usually internal valve body wear or aging solenoids. Parts and labor will easily set you back $2,000 to $3,000 minimum. Conclusion. To sum it up, if you're buying a first car for a peep later, or you just want a reliable daily, go blindly for the late model XV50. Don't get hung up on extra features, focus on whether the seller is including an RWC, how many months of rego are left, and if the logbook is complete. If everything checks out, negotiate, pay the cash, and drive away. If you found this guide useful, don't forget to like, save, and hit that follow button. I'll catch you in the next episode for more solid advice on picking your Aussie daily driver. See ya.